Hello, my name is Cameron Harrington. I plan on studying secondary education with a specialization in history, and I believe these three traits would be very successful for me as a history teacher. One, compassion, just because I believe as a secondary teacher, we all know that students from middle school and high school go through some very big changes such as puberty and often some family issues do occur during that time. And I want to be able to understand those students to the best of my ability. Reflection. I believe that reflection, especially with history, requires you to look back on your past and also look to how it affects today's society. And then with also just kind of political actions, seeing like that because X country is doing X, how does it reflect upon their past? Then with advocacy. Advocacy is something that is very history driven, is that if you believe in something, you should fight for it. And then within history, I believe I should be able to support other people's views without necessarily giving my view to discriminate against others' points of views. As a first year teacher, I think these two conducts would be my hardest thing to really learn and improve on, especially being a younger teacher. One, the professional conduct, just because I have a hard time to really put a barrier between me and another person because I'm very sarcastic, very kind of friendly. So between me and my students, I think I might overdo it and try to be a little bit too much like a friend rather than also putting the barrier of being also their teacher and somewhat of a superior to them. And then with honesty, I find myself to be very gullible, especially with people and wanting to always believe their stories. And I think that if I was to continue that in certain situations, I could be taken advantage of. And that's something that as a teacher I need to be aware of and be able to understand certain people's perspectives, but also need to justly come down saying, hey, no, this isn't right, we need to move on, or that this project is late, rather than being too understanding and too nice. Alright, as a history teacher, I believe these three qualities would be necessary in the classroom. Engagement, professionalism, and reality. Engagement, so that way you can kind of capture the ideas and the essence of the students, so that way they can see all aspects of your class and also have a little bit of sense of humor. And as we see in like popular media today, a lot of it has to do with maybe mixing a little bit of politics or some history with some humor. And often, many people are engaged in it. Even if they may not agree, they still get a few laughs and they're learning while they're doing it. Professionalism is just that idea, to keep the barrier in between you and the student. That way they know to respect you, but also that where it's not too broad, where they know that they can approach you and ask sensitive questions or different topics. That way you can give them a responsible answer rather than them just going off somewhere to get some illegitimate source of information. And then with reality, especially within history, is that you want to make sure that you're teaching them what actually happened. And then with that, you can also involve current events, especially with today's political climate. You want to make sure that your students are being taught the right stuff and being able to understand both sides of either argument and not just kind of name calling other people. And that's what I really think all three of these would do in a history class and would help me as a first year teacher.